curled my hair. The director of the show we were doing,
Mm-hmm.
I curled my hair so much that it looked like it was like Welcome to the Sedona Soul Sister Show, down to earth discussions on metaphysics, paranormal, and spiritual topics.
And the Sedona Soul Sisters are myself, Roslyn Reynolds, my business partner, Ivory Lanou, and our sweet mate, Terry Ann Russell. And we have offices here in Sedona, Arizona, and we see clients from all over the world.
And our topic today is twin flames.
It's been a hot one this week.
Interesting.
You can know if we talk about something, it's because it's a hot topic with clients of
Yes.
recent. And
It's
Roz
true.
is just shaking her head. She's like,
It's true.
"Mhm."
A lot of people awakening, a lot of people connecting now. And the twin flame situation is a little more, I think, specific than like meeting your soulmate. There's some very specific guidelines that occur when you connect with your twin flame. And one of the things most people notice is that this is usually a person that over the course of their life, maybe 3, 4, 5 times they've lived or been in very close proximity and barely missed each other.
I had that experience before. I don't think it's them.
It's really interesting. There's a lot of confusion about the twin flame and soulmate scenario, but the truth of the matter is that both of them are come from a soul connection that you have, and these are past life connections. A lot of people state and believe that your soulmate does not exist in this dimensional field at the same time you do. That they're in another field and you're connecting in your higher consciousness. I totally disagree with
Me
that
too.
because I've just had it happen too many times that people connect with their twin flame and it's like an ignition point. It is really, I mean, there's an incredible and very noticeable total metaphysical kind of like bomb.
On all levels, spiritual, mental,
Yes.
I think
physical.
it's unusual. I think probably the hardest thing is so many people coming and going, am I close to meeting my twin flame? When am I going to meet my twin flame? Not everybody's going to meet their twin flame in this lifetime. I think
That's
it's
true.
rare. It's beautiful and it's rare and it's wonderful if it happens to you. But if you go through your whole life waiting for your twin flame, passing up some amazing soulmates, that could be disappointing in the long
Yeah.
run.
And the true, connection with your twin flame is not always pretty either. And this is another expectation that people have. Like they're going to meet their twin flame and it's just going to be so amazing and they're going to be so madly in love. Well,
Unicorns and rainbows every day.
I totally agree with the madly in love part, but it's challenging because this is a mirror relationship. So you're not only looking at the person that you have connected with and that amazing ignition that goes on, but you're also looking at yourself. And some of those views are a little bit of a wake up call. It's like mirror image. So,
And after you say it, don't you know it? And then you're like, oh, it's really me. Oops.
very true. Very true. I've had, in the last few years, I've had quite a few couples that actually realized that this was their twin flame, which used to be pretty rare. I mean, people would suddenly meet this person, their connection would be so incredible and so powerful, and that amazing metaphysical, almost like electrical boom that goes off. And then, they would be thinking, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. You know, that used to be pretty rare.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed it since the awakening and
Yeah.
the shift has started. There's a lot of this now.
More and more.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and there's a purpose in that, of course, because the twin flames together, our energy is incredibly powerful. As long as we're not fighting.
I think the harsh thing is not only is it rare, but sometimes you meet your twin flame and it doesn't mean they have worked on themselves and are ready for a twin flame relationship with you in this lifetime. I've experienced that,
Mm-hmm.
and that's
I
horrible.
think a lot of people experience that.
Because that has to do with that free will again. If they
Mhm.
choose to do their work while they're here, maybe they don't want to, and so they
Mhm.
can't be on that same twin flame level that you are.
Right.
Has to be a willingness, definitely,
Yes.
to affect change in your life and to accept that everything maybe that you thought your twin flame was going to be is not all that. So it also requires flexibility. And a lot of people have difficulty sort of merging their fantasy with the reality.
So Roz, as the one here who I know is in a twin flame relationship, what do you say?
Terry
names-
Ann is too.
Are you? You've never said that. You've
She
never
doesn't talk about
said
it, but she
what
is.
the symptoms are that you guys think happened for you. What did you experience? What did your clients experience?
Well, we definitely, like a lot of the clients that I've talked to, we definitely were in the same place at the same time. Living at one point, we were living in the same town, very small town when we were young, and everybody kind of knew everybody in that town, and we never met. But we knew a lot. We knew the same people. We never met, and we were both already married and in relationships. So I kind of figured that's why that didn't occur at the time, because we were working on other stuff. And the other thing that was really noticeable, I was at a point, and so was Ed, where we were just done. We were kind of done.
Not with each other, but with
Just, yeah.
romance.
We were content to be not in a relationship. We kind of had agendas going on. We weren't planning on getting in a relationship with anyone. And we were sitting across from each other, and there was truly an electrical bolt between us. Like, we just looked at each other, and both of us were sort of knocked backwards in the chair. And another person who was very intuitive witnessed this and said out loud, "What was that?" And we both said, "I don't know."
I have no idea.
Yeah, we were like, "What?" So I think it's very startling a lot of times when this literally hits you.
Yes.
And the wake up call goes smack. Because from that point forth, we were just like magnetic to each other. So, and I know you experienced that too.
I
You had
did.
that lightning bolt?
Yeah.
Talk
And
about
I
that.
said never again before I met him, and then here he comes. That same feeling, that cellular memory, I felt like I knew him for lifetimes. I looked at him and I was like, oh my God, what is this? I had never experienced that before in a romantic relationship, being married before. I never experienced that. Didn't know what the hell it was. And I was like, no.
Did he
Yeah.
feel that at the same time? Did he ever talk about that?
He felt a connection, but not as strong as me. He's not as open to that.
Mm-hmm.
But he felt this connection and this immense sort of
Like a pull.
Yeah, and we're almost like the yin and the yang. Like, so I give him what he needs to grow, he gives me what I need to grow.
Exactly.
And again, it's not all roses and butterflies, like you said. It's work. We work back and forth. We've been
Yeah.
together 5 years, and it's sort of I'm teaching him, he's teaching me. Well, I give him what he needs, he gives me. So it's sort of that flow.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's very cool.
And I think it's interesting too, you know, we're significantly older
Mm-hmm.
than you guys. And I mean, I was definitely very content, very comfortable being single
Mm-hmm.
for the rest of my life. Not looking, not pursuing anything. And it was such a shock when it hit that I had to like really step back and go, whoa, wait a minute. Do I want to get into this? Do I want to do this? Do I want to, you know? And there was nothing
Hilarious.
stopping that energy. It was
Yeah.
so incredibly powerful. And I had, soulmate relationships before that
Mm-hmm.
where I met the person, I recognized they were a soulmate, but it was not incredibly challenging like this. I mean, it was comfortable. We had karmic connections. We
Mhm.
recognized certain things about each other, but it wasn't like this. I mean,
Right.
this was like getting on a rocket.
Whee!
And that's what a lot of the clients that I talk to,
Mhm.
a lot of people who aren't even thinking about, they've done maybe some spiritual investigation, they're intuitive, they're curious, but they have not one iota of knowledge about twin flame relationships, and they're pushed by that relationship to learn and to open.
Yeah.
So, and I would agree with that to an extent
Mhm.
for everybody. I think you have these sort of set in your head ideas of things going a certain way, and then boom.
I don't think there's anything you can do to make a twin flame come in faster than the usual working on yourself.
You can only work on
Yeah,
yourself.
you work on
Exactly.
yourself, and if your twin flame is in this lifetime and not occupied otherwise, if your twin flame is capable of a relationship, then they're going to come into your life. So all these people, I think that the reason we're doing this is there's so many people who really seem to be focused on finding that twin flame. It's not about finding them.
They just
Find
show
each
up.
other.
They
Yeah.
just show
And
up.
find yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, find
You know,
yourself.
dig deep.
We should record this and keep. This is the part we're going to keep playing back to because it almost everything comes back to that.
Every
doesn't
show,
it?
I think we say you need
Yeah.
to work on yourself. You need to work on yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
very true. And the expectation that, your life will be incomplete if you don't find your twin flame, I think that kind of sets you up
Mhm.
for a lot of disappointment and
Mhm.
sadness, and for having a reason not to work on yourself.
Right. Looking
Because,
outside.
yeah, looking out, waiting for someone to come be the
Complete you.
revolution.
Mm-hmm. We're
And-
taught that though, very young.
Yes, we are.
Especially as young women, you
Mhm.
grow up, you get married, you have a family, you need to look outside yourself for that. And we're not taught that. It's within us already.
It is.
So when we learn that, it's like,
Yes,
wow.
it's the mermaid thing all over again.
Mermaid.
We're overcoming all of these old paradigms,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's painful. But so, all right, what is a twin flame, or what is a twin flame relationship not?
Easy.
Not all flowers and butterflies, unicorn and rainbows.
It's also not a circumstance that is not in a constant state of flux.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how many times you look at your relationship, there's always things going on that are new and opening new, kind of like new concepts, new spiritual pursuits. I feel like people who connect at an older age, maybe a little bit with their twin flame, it also becomes about where you want to where you want to be with this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think recognizing that, as you grow older, you have, like, at least in my case, can't speak for everybody, but I mean, you just have less motivation to do the kind of stuff you did when you were younger. Like, you know, make a traditional, like, get married. You know, I'm just kind of past that.
Couldn't care less.
And that's not a bad thing. But it's a definitely, you have to look within yourself again and look, at who you are and who you've become as a person. And really look at how much you feel like you're willing to give up, because you do give up things when you create a legal relationship.
Mhm.
And I find that a lot of the people that I meet that are older, they end up not deciding not
Mm.
to get married when they've connected with their twin flame. So I think that's a factor too.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
And I think because we get there at an older point too, we've learned so much from our other soulmate relationships, karmic relationship. As you said, we were doing the work and we learned and we
Mhm.
grew to a certain extent, and that's why then now our twin flame can come in.
Mhm.
So
I do
really-
think so,
Mhm.
and I hope that you don't get tired of hearing this, and we don't want to bore you, but we have to be honest that for many things, for everything, it comes down to your personal growth and what you're doing yourself to drop your negative habits or reactions,
Your
your coping
guards.
skills, your
walls.
12-foot wall around your heart, of all those things that happen, and so the more you make yourself the type of person you'd like to be in a relationship with, then you can draw on
Mhm.
that kind of person.
Yeah.
So these are just things that it's inevitable. You can't get around that. You cannot find your twin flame, meet your twin flame, and not work on yourself. Just not going to happen.
Not kiss a few frogs along the way.
Horny toads. There's a lot of those in this area.
I think another thing for people to think about which is kind of an overlapping issue, somewhat a separate issue, but many people who have incredible intuitive abilities are opening in this process of shifting energies, and the ascension of going higher in terms of your spiritual connections. And the twin flame relationship definitely pushes you in that direction. So if even, I mean, none of us ever become perfect.
Mhm.
None of us ever reach the level where we've mastered pure mastery. We have it all,
We'd be an ascended master.
Yeah, there's
We'd be
always
waving goodbye.
something that we're still dealing with within ourselves. But the truth of the matter is, for those people who are feeling like their twin flame, is not out there, that doesn't mean that you can't focus a lot of love and energy on yourself while you're growing and changing, but also on everybody around you too. And I really feel like when we reach that frequency level where we're actually sending out like love all the time, which I have not reached that frequency. I got that little
Working on it.
fireball thing in there. But certainly that's the goal. I mean, that's what we work towards. And when you're realizing that, you have achieved a level where you could love someone unconditionally, because that's what it really comes down to. I mean, you're loving that person, you're accepting that person, and you're accepting you at the same time. But there's still work.
And clients don't like when you say they're like a mirror. If you
Yeah.
are with your twin flame and they are like a mirror, they're like, Well, what do you mean? You mean I'm like that? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
That whole mirror.
they're not usually too happy when
No.
you
And that's not
bring
just
up that
twin flame
point.
arrangements either.
Right.
That's other relationships.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If someone really bugs you, then they're probably a mirror for something that
Mhm.
you yourself have. So, something to think about. One thing I find helpful with this, with the people who are kind of freaked out about not having met their twin flame, and they hold it up as the epitome of love.
Mm.
I want that epitome of love. I want to experience that level of love. And one thing I do to help them calm down is to have them focus on all the love in their life, because love is love is love. So you got to truly, truly embrace how much love you already have in your life. If you have children, if you have your parents, your siblings, your friends, the people who you work with, the people who know you and love you, you need to really feel all of that love and absorb it in as the truly loved being that you are. That can fill your need for love, and it helps calm down the panic so that you can relax and let these things happen in the time they're meant to. Anybody who's in a panic, they're not going to be manifesting the things that you hope to,
That's a
not
good
positive things.
And I think, being connected with your guidance too,
Mhm.
um, being in a mode of a willingness to be open to receiving information. I mean, we talk a lot about manifesting, and that's definitely important, but it's also important to let go of the need to control all the time, to let go of that sort of panicky feeling you're describing, like, oh my gosh, what if I never meet, what if I never, you can't always control, but you can connect with your angels and guides and say, please, please bring me to the point where I'm ready for this and where everything aligns.
I don't think that's going to be a magical thing where suddenly you're ready, like overnight. But what it could do, my experience with angels, when you ask for a thing like that, then they're going to put something in front of you, a clue or a sign that you're supposed to follow that gets you on the path to where you want to go. But not just wake up the next morning and, oh my gosh, I'm totally ready, and here he comes. No.
There's that work factor again.
Yeah. What? I got to work for it.
Work, and then you see it and you're like, well, that's not what it's supposed to look like.
So preconceived notions, it's good to leave those behind.
Mm-hmm.
In search for love of any kind, I think that gets in the way for a lot of people, because even the ones who think they don't have a type usually do have a type, and so they will eliminate a really wonderful potential partner because right off the bat they don't fit that type. So
I think that's a huge issue,
mhm.
especially in our culture.
Yeah, so into
So-
looks and the surface, and
Yeah.
yes, I agree. So letting go of that and go with what your heart tells you. Go to with the person you're actually pulled towards. I mean, I think it would be possible if you weren't doing that. It could be possible to meet your twin flame and not know you met them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That would be sad. You don't want that.
Well, in the case of my situation, that electrical boom was pretty intense.
Like, wake up.
And I was not at that point, as I mentioned, searching for anything.
What really interests me about that, and I don't know if it happened to you too, Terry, and you can tell us, but I know for you and Ed that didn't happen when you first met.
No.
How
It
far into knowing him did that happen? Or days,
I
weeks?
probably, maybe known him. Well, I should say we met. We were introduced. He was a friend of mine's brother,
Mhm.
and so he, how you categorize that, like, oh, okay, so and so's brother. He goes over here in this little box, and he, on the other hand, when we first met, he did feel something right then. I didn't feel anything right then. I was in a
Interesting.
really different space with myself, and I was working on some I was working on some things, some issues that I knew I needed to get resolved, and was bringing a lot of stuff up to the surface. So I was just like, shake hands. Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you.
And he's like, wait.
Well, and then he went elsewhere and was working for a while. And when he came back, we probably saw each other, I don't know, 2 or 3 times. I still got no, ping. No, I mean, it was nice. I liked him. I thought he was very sweet. But
So what did he feel the first time he met you?
you'd have to ask him.
He's right here. He's behind the scenes.
And he's hiding.
And
He
what
won't get on
did you
camera.
feel?
You're making him blush.
Just talk.
I felt that a big attraction to her.
Okay.
Rosalind, yeah.
It's really funny because I think I have a very like when I get really focused, I am really strong in that focus, and everything else goes out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think probably he was far more tuned in to what was going
He's so
on
mellow.
than I was. Yeah. Because I was just like, okay, I'm going to get these things accomplished, and I'm working on this. And I mean, I had my agenda.
So you kind of had to be given the bolt so that you would be, ooh, pay attention here. But why? Do other people, like clients of yours who've met their twin flames, do they feel that bolt?
Yes.
Interesting. So
They-
if there's no bolt, it's not there.
Well, there's a familiarity.
There's
There's something.
I'm not
it's
sure
like,
it's like a boom
yeah.
like we had, but I
Mhm.
think there's something that
It's a strong deep
Yeah.
connection.
It's you're
immediately.
connected. It's like an invisible rope, and they keep pulling you in.
Oh, yes. I had that in high school.
Wow.
One time in high school. That bolt.
Mhm.
But that did not work out. He has anger issues.
well, and there you go. Stuff to work on.
Yeah, so
For
he
him.
may be my twin flame, but he still lives in Prescott.
And how about that? Not all twin flames end up together, like we were saying.
Well, and that's a really good point. So I think people assume that you do go into this very intense interpersonal, spiritual, physical relationship. And yet, I have met some people who kind of said what you just said, like, I felt that, but there were these other issues, or they're in another relationship already, or I recently encountered some people who one had already decided they were moving and that was in motion,
Mhm.
and then they connected. So they had to restructure a few things. But I mean, there's a lot of factors involved. And I'm always a great believer of, like, listen to your heart, but I'm not really always a good practicer of that. So, because if I'm really focused on where I'm going and how I'm working, I'm manifesting and I'm doing whatever, my heart can just be totally intent on that. And there was no changing the direction of this once that happened. I mean, it was like I just, all I could think of was the way they used to show pictures of Cupid's arrow, like it would hit people and they'd just be flattened. Yeah, I was thinking, what, me?
Oh shoot!
I'm not doing this. I'm going that direction.
So,
Surprise.
what do you think twin flames are? What are your thoughts on that? There's a lot of different.
I
Descriptions.
feel like almost like so. Tim and I are very telepathically connected. He can finish my thoughts. I can look at him and know what he's thinking. It's scary sometimes. So my thoughts on that is that we are like almost one soul.
That's how I look at it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Connected.
That's why I
as
think it
one
should be called
soul.
twin souls
Mhm.
instead of twin flames.
Well, the flame comes because you're like, I'm gonna light fire under your ass. I'm gonna make you do some more work.
This will
Yeah.
propel you forward like a jetpack.
Right? Yeah, that's true too.
It's very true.
So that's where I think it comes
So you could have
from.
soulmates and twin souls. Maybe that's a more accurate
Mhm.
description, because that's what I see it as too. Is like two people sharing the same soul, which is why I think when you meet, you feel that strong connection, that draw.
So can you only have one twin flame?
In a lifetime, I think.
in a
Do you
lifetime.
only have one twin flame ever, and they're always your twin flame?
I
haven't
have
read
heard
anything
so
about that.
much. I've just heard, with people talking about this. I don't think I've read anything.
I never
stating
really
that.
thought about that before. Now
Because
I
I know
am.
Tim and I have experienced different lifetimes together. So that would make sense for the twin
Yeah.
flame to come in.
To
and
me,
you're with.
I can't imagine how you could have another twin flame.
I wouldn't think so.
Because how can you have another half of your soul?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be three people sharing a soul. That would not be twin flame. That'd be like trio flames.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it is.
I don't think I ever asked myself that question. So, but I've heard people talk about it and say, "Oh, there's only one, and that's, that's for eternity, and that's et cetera, et cetera."
And usually the only reading I do on the subject of twin flames is when a client comes in and they're like, "Well, I got this one, this site in this article," and I read it and I'm like, I'm not resonating with that. That's not how I understand it to be, but now I can understand why you feel the way you do. So I read that, but I think just getting over the misconceptions is really important. Not thinking that everyone's going to find their twin flame in every lifetime. It is not the norm.
And that you need that. You don't need that. You're already whole, and perfect, whole, and complete.
Mhm.
And if
And
it
also
comes,
that
great.
you don't have to have that to experience happiness, joy, and
Deep love.
metaphysical and spiritual fulfillment.
Mm-hmm. No, and also it doesn't have to be a twin flame love to have a wonderful love. It could be a soulmate. It could even be somebody who's not a soulmate, but they're a wonderful complement to you, and you make each other happy, and it feels comfortable, and they're supportive of you, and vice versa. That sometimes is a lot more pleasant than a soulmate or a twin flame relationship. So, don't deny yourself some happiness waiting for the elusive twin flame.
Terry Ann and I are both Aries, so in fact, our birthdays are within a few days of each other, and I'm not very knowledgeable about astrology, but I can tell you that there are certain personality traits that certain signs share, and I think that is an aspect too. It's not a subject I can really talk about, but I feel like when you have certain very basic traits that are traceable to, birth time and things like that, your connections that you make with people from previous lives and everything, are kind of part of that too, that whole arriving here and everything that comes with that. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I can't see me as like an earth energy or an air energy.
No,
I'm like fire.
We're definitely fire.
I would have thought. I feel more like water energy. But
Yeah,
I'm a Virgo,
No,
so
we're
technically
definitely
I'm Earth.
fire people.
like that fire.
And I throw dirt on it.
Or you know what I used to say?
Very apropos.
My ex-husband was water. So he always put out my fire. And if he's watching, he can know that. Because he knows it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh boy.
I was going to say
Hilarious.
something else about
Oh, I
twin
totally
flames,
lost
but
it.
I just lost my train of thought on that one. Any other words anybody wants to add to this topic, including Ed, the faceless voice in the corner?
Yes.
I have nothing to add.
He's just turning red.
I can't even see that far without my glasses, so it's all lost on me. Oh, I thought you said yes, you have something you want to add. All right.
No, I said he's just turning red.
We can bring it to a close then.
All righty. Well, thanks so much for joining us today on the Sedona Soul Sisters show. you have any questions, I know this probably opens all kinds of questions that people have. So go to our website, SedonaSoulSisters.com, and look through the things that we do and the gifts that we share with people. And if you're interested, we would love to help you too.
We would. And tune in next week. Our topic will be the effects of technology. And it's more like how it affects you on a level, really, but particularly in regard to your spiritual journey. So we hope that you have a wonderful, enlightening week.
And fun.
I'm gonna take that advice.
My slogan this year is for the fun of it, just for the fun of it.
I like that.
I need to get my glasses though.